Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Wonderful tonight on ABC. Single female Joan Vassos embarks on her journey. After losing her better half to pancreatic cancer a few years ago, she is looking for her second love. Every season, reality during all of the lone wolf establishment shows, Steve is usually prepared to give fans a sneak peek at what's to come. This time, Joan's season was destroyed by Steve long before the show's premiere. However, he went to Web Entertainment on Wednesday to admit that he was mistaken about Joan's final four and victory. Look around to see who truly took home Joan's final rose. Be careful. Warning. This contains spoilers. Again, outstanding single woman uncovered. Joan Vassos's final rose victory. Outstanding Lone Ranger Joan Vassos is the first lead for the side project and is starting her journey on ABC. Steve had discovered reality's final four and the person he deemed the winner in front of her vacation. Just a few hours before the premiere on Wednesday, he rushed to Web Entertainment to admit that he was wrong. Steve discovered Joan's last four on Instagram. That remains untouched in the spoiler. Pascal Ibgui, fellow Gansert, Chalk Chapel, and Jordan Heller are the last four men. After dating each of these men on previous neighborhood outings, Joan made the decision to part ways with Jordan Heller, 61. Joan took the three remaining people on short-term dates to Tahiti. The section that follows is currently a little risky. Steve first discovered that Joan sent 60-year-old Chalk Chapel home after fantasy suites. Nevertheless, that is untrue. He is unable to dispute the fact that 69-year-old Pascal Ibgui committed suicide in the latter two or third stages. It was said that he was not fond of Joan. That leaves fellow Gansert, 66, who was earlier expected to be the winner as well. However, as of right now, Steve claims that fellow finishes the final two or three, depending on what happens with Pascal. This suggests that Joan and Chalk Chapel are actually involved. Steve was unable to confirm if they were locked in as of yet. The outcome of this remains to be seen, as Joan recently stated that she did not go into the vacation expecting to return with a commitment. Chalk is employed in Wichita, Kansas in security. Joan Vassos discovered at a subsequent encounter that although she had fantastic suite dates, there was absolutely no intimacy. She expected these dates to be just conversations and opportunities to get to know each other better. She went on to say that they may only visit the couch rather than any beds. Once their conversation was over, each spent the night in their individual rooms. How do you feel with Steve reversing the spoiler regarding Joan's last rose victor? Are you fond of him? Stay tuned for more spoilers and developments. However, Joan and Keith didn't appear to be communicating all that much in the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 Episode 2. Though he didn't get much screen time, he went to the prom in the 1980s. This might not be good news for Joan and Keith's relationship, especially because the show tends to develop its plots if certain characters survive. Keith may not have had the best initial impression of Joan because during Episode 2, she developed closer relationships with a few of the other men. The group date talent show featured Pascal, a 69-year-old French salon owner who resides in Chicago, Illinois. He demonstrated a haircut on a wig to highlight his hairstyling skills. Pascal joked that his closet in the Bachelor Mansion is too small for all of his designer goods, and he showed Joan this during the cookout. He and Joan chuckled over the living arrangements of the boys. The trailers for Episode 3 indicated that Pascal will go on a one-on-one date with Joan, despite the fact that he didn't spend much time with her alone in Episode 2. After their passionate kiss, Pascal remarked, "It's a fairy tale. How can someone not fall in love?" The most important times for Pascal and Joan are about to happen, and it looks like they'll bond deeply. Kim, a 69-year-old Seattle, Washington native and retired Navy captain, is charming and passionate on the inside despite his rough exterior. Joan was really thrilled when Kim performed an original song for her at the talent contest during the group date. She even kissed him on the lips in front of all of them. But to his great disappointment, she picked Dan to be the winner of the talent contest instead. Kim showed Joan his family photos at the grill, one of which was of him and his late wife, which Joan found quite touching. In his confessional, he admitted that he knew Joan was still in love with her late husband, and that she knew he was still in love with her. He did, however, add that it doesn't stop them from being receptive to greater love. Kim and Joan seem to have a lot of promise for romance, so maybe more one-on-one time will be shared in the future. Jordan, a senior sales executive from Chicago, Illinois, who is 61 years old, and Joan have had some special times together where they bonded over their families. On the night of the premiere, he even gave her a sweatshirt for her granddaughter. They played pickleball as well. When Jordan and Joan are together, they always grin and have a terrific time. Jordan is a thoughtful man. Jordan went to the 1980s prom, and when Joan heard that Jordan had dated Taylor Dayne 5 years prior, she was impressed. A portion of the prom's music came from Taylor. There's connection between Jordan and Joan, even if they haven't had their big break yet. They also have a profound love for their families in common. But Jordan might not earn another rose if he doesn't spend some quality time alone with Joan soon. Guy was a member of the 80s prom group date. He was an emergency room physician from Reno, Nevada, who was 66 years old. His dancing skills amazed Joan. Guy seems like a lot of fun, but in order for him to catch up to the other men in terms of relationships, he and Joan will need to spend a lot more time together. Guy was told to be very gorgeous by Joan on the first season premiere of The Golden Bachelorette. Then he put some fragrance on his wrist, thinking that it would help her remember him. Other than that, they didn't really communicate, although Joan claimed that Guy had a big influence on her. Maybe she's planning to treat him to a private date soon, or spend some quality time with him on a group date. For Guy and Joan to truly connect, they need that alone time. Wonderful man that he is, Charles K., a 62-year-old fund manager from Rancho Palos Verdes, California, just hasn't spent as much time with Joan as the other men have. Charles K. took part in the talent show Group Date in The Golden Bachelorette, Season 1, Episode 2, breaking a board and unintentionally striking Greg in the ribs. In the first episode, Charles K. demonstrated his physical prowess by coming out of the limousine carrying a cane, tossing it aside, and performing push-ups. When Joan presented Charles K. his rose during the rose ceremony, she addressed him by his nickname, CK, suggesting that they may have interacted more than was depicted in the episode. But given how far along a lot of the other guys are in their relationships with Joan, it seems likely that she will be bidding Charles K. farewell shortly. Greg, a Longboat Key, Florida native and retired vice president of a university, is 64 years old. Regretfully, rather than Greg's bond with Joan, the focus of The Golden Bachelorette Season 1 Episode 2 was Pascal pestering him to do his laundry and his loud snoring. Greg got everyone chuckling with his stand-up comedy routine to start off the group date talent show. Joan clearly sees something in Greg, because she gave him a rose at the rose ceremony, even though they weren't shown having any meaningful conversations. Although he doesn't seem like a bad man, they haven't had much communication. Maybe in the future, Joan and Greg will become closer. But the producer's primary usage of Greg as comedic relief may be a warning that his time at the Bachelor house is running out. Over the Golden Bachelorette cookout, Mission Viejo, California-based educator Gil, 60, confided in Joan about his wife's passing in 2019. He told Joan, with tears in his eyes, how his son's graduations from high school and college happened without her. Joan and Gil also became close after learning how much their late spouses enjoyed the Bachelor television series. But after Gil's Golden Bachelorette background check was finished, people revealed that his ex-girlfriend had filed a temporary restraining order against him. A source close to the show revealed that the producers had further edited his already limited screen time and minimized him in promotional assets moving forward. The former girlfriend of Gil said, "Despite telling him to not contact me, come to my house, he made repeated unwanted contact with me, family members and friends." The interim restraining order was withdrawn, and the lawsuit has now been dismissed. Of course, this information was discovered after the filming was over, but Gil could not have advanced very far in the series if he was given little screen time. It appears from the Golden Bachelorette source's comment that Joan didn't choose Gil for her partner. The remaining 14 men in the Golden Bachelorette cast could wind up dating or getting engaged to Joan. She has some incredibly amazing contenders. Some people, though, are closer to her than others. Since this was only episode 2, they have a long trip ahead of them, and things could alter in the upcoming weeks. Hopefully, during the Golden Bachelorette, Joan met the love of her life, and the two of them had a happy marriage.